Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our special interview this afternoon. My name is Angela Kabuswe, and I work as an environment specialist at USAID Zambia. And this afternoon, I'm delighted to host Mr. Akufuna Muyunda, who is here with us to help us talk about the commemoration of Earth Day, which falls on April 22nd of every year, and it's actually today. Mr. Muyunda, welcome to our interview, and thank you so much for finding time to join us.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here on this very special day for us all as human beings.
Thank you very much. And probably before we get into the interview, I'd like to know more about who is Mr. Muyunda Akufuna?
Yeah, sure. No, thank you so much for that wonderful question. So, I am a youth based here in Zambia, an award-winning climate change philanthropy, a climate leader who was trained by the former U.S. Vice President Al Gore. That was in 2014, in the early days of my work in the space of climate change and youth development. So today I'm here, of course, in my capacity as a climate leader, but also as a co-founder for the Young Volunteers for Environment.
Wow, we are so delighted to have you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so maybe we can talk a little bit about your involvement in the Youth Volunteers organization where you co-founded.
Yeah, sure. So
what is organization about? What do you do?
Yeah, so the Young Volunteers for Environment Zambia is a youth movement founded in 2011 at the 2011 first ever climate change conference that was hosted by the Green Environment Zambia with the support from COMESA. And at that conference we had the privilege to meet the international director for the Young Volunteers for Environment, who is Sena Aluka, based in Togo. So our headquarters is in Togo. So as a chapter for Zambia, we grouped young volunteers that expressed interest in, of course, doing something for Zambia. At that time, the voice on climate change from the youth in Zambia was very, very low, and it wanted to make it louder by mobilizing youth voices, strengthening youth voices, and reaching out to give them the capacity to contribute significantly in building a resilient Zambia for all. So our main goal was to establish a movement that would be going to promote environmental stability and climate justice across board, but predominantly putting the face of youth in the front.
Oh, that's wonderful. Sure. And what's your membership like? How many are you?
So currently we have about 500 members across the country, and we connect with them or mobilize them mainly via our social media platforms, and we also engage them in various activities in their localities. Okay. So like, for example, today we are commemorating Earth Day, and we have registered a number of pledges to do activities by our volunteers across the country.
Okay, yeah, no, sure. That's wonderful to hear. We'll come to that, but I think for now, I would want us now to delve on this day. It is Earth Day, and I think the theme for this year is invest in the planet. How are you interpreting this theme, and then what activities have you lined up as an organization?
First of all, I want to mention that I'm happy that is actually the theme for this year's Earth Day, because it is rare that as humanity we think about what we are giving back to the earth.
Exactly.
A number of events have come and gone, mainly talking about consumption, what we are taking out from the environment, what we are taking out from the earth itself. And this year's commemoration of Earth Day is reminding us on the need and importance of actually investing in the earth. We depend on it, we depend on the resources that we get from the environment more than ever before, because the population has grown, and also our needs have grown, and our consumption pattern have also evolved. I can describe our current generation as a hugely consumptive generation, which means a huge increase in our environmental footprints or carbon footprints altogether. And that means also pressure on the resources that we have in the earth. So my interpretation on the theme, which is investing in our planet, is as humanity we need to start thinking now, what are we giving back to the earth, and how much are we investing in doing that, because it also comes with the cost. For example, the cost of restoring our diversity.
Exactly.
The cost of protecting our river system. Because we need water, quality water for that purpose. We need clean air to breathe. We need a clean environment. We need fertile, arable land for our agriculture. So what are we investing in the earth so it can give us back all those needs to sustain our lives, and also that of our animals, the plants, and everything else in the environment.
Wow. That's very powerful, and I know this interview is also one way of trying to create awareness about what is happening, so that people can know about the need for us to conserve what we have, to conserve nature, and to invest into the planet.
Absolutely.
So it's good that you have quite a number of activities that have been lined up.
Yes, actually the World Earth Day, first of all, it was founded in 1970 with the purpose to raise awareness, or to educate the people on environmental issues. So we look at it as a day which we should dedicate to raising awareness and sharing and learning from each other about how best we can protect our environment in order to sustain our livelihoods.
Okay. And then in case somebody may be wondering, I know last month, I think on March 26th, we commemorated Earth Hour. And today we are saying this is Earth Day. So in case somebody may be wondering what could be the difference between these two events, what would you say are the differences between what we are celebrating today and what we had on March 26th, or what are similarities?
Yeah, first of all, the similarity is we are concerned about protecting the earth and restoring the earth, and that's the similarity in that respect. The only difference is the Earth Hour is more specific activity, whereas the Earth Day is more generic, but coined around a theme like what we have, for example, investing in our planet, and there are many ways in which you can apply that into activities. So for the Earth Hour, it's a moment where we say, as the world, let us stop for 6 seconds, 6 minutes, and switch off the energy, if it is your lighting at home and everything else that you use, just to give the earth at least a moment to breathe for an hour.
That's very important.
Yes. So, but the most important thing around that is the idea that as humanity we need to begin to think about restoring our earth, and also bring about the sustainability that we need, because we need to do something as a people, and especially that we are the number one causes to the crisis that we have.
Exactly. And we have to find solutions ourselves. Okay.
Sure.
So, Mr. Muyunda, as a climate leader yourself, how would you describe the state of climate right now? How do you envision what the climate will look like in the near and distant future?
Yeah. First of all, and based on the recent report by the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it is indicated that the greenhouse emissions are on the rise. Yeah. Despite all the efforts that we have tried to make in the past, and it's also telling us that our current ambitions are not ambitious enough as a people, which means the rate at which the crisis is worsening is much more than what we are currently doing to restore it. So that's not a good indicator. It shows that we need to maximize whatever we are doing to help reduce the amount of emissions in the atmosphere, because what's creating climate change that we're talking about is also affecting us in different in different aspects of our lives as a people. And looking into the future, at the current rate, we are doing things. I think it's something to worry about, because the climate crisis needs much attention from how we design our policies to inform the climate action that we want to see, and also to be able to protect our communities and our people, create the adaptation capabilities of our communities, and also the resilient capabilities of our people. So there's a lot that needs to be done, a lot of investment that needs to be done. We heard about the 100 billion pledge for climate action, and the people are still making pledges to meet that target, and we're still far away from meeting that target. That was after the Glasgow conference of the parties, and we need to do more, and we need more resources, and resources are not seen. So looking to the future, we can only have hope if we begin to see deliberate action by governments, by private sector, civil society, and this should not be done in isolation of one another, but they should be able to come together and speak one language. If we're speaking renewable energy, let's speak renewable energy, and let's support renewable energy. Let's make laws and policies that will, deliberately influence investment in the sector for renewable energy. If you are speaking, smart agriculture, let's not just talk about it, let's put money on it and invest in it, and also bring about the technology to sustain our agricultural capabilities and be able to continue to produce food enough for the people and ensure food security for all. Clean water is one of the things that we should talk about. Sanitation is one of the things we should talk about. And also not forgetting the marginalized communities in this perspective, and marginalized groups of people, the women, the youth, even the people with disabilities.
No one should be left behind.
So we need to actualize our intentions in the way we do things, first of all, in order for us to have the hope that we want to see in the next 10 years. So we have been talking about the SDGs, we are 8 years down the line, and
we still don't have much to show.
Much far from achieving our targets. So that's what should cause us the worry as a people, and we have hope anyway at the end of the day because we have this conversation, we are talking about these issues. We are raising awareness, and more people are coming on board. For Zambia in particular, we have registered increased political will by the new government. The president himself personally attended the COP in Glasgow. He made a commitment, signed the declaration to end deforestation by 2030. Also raised some resources in the space, created the Green Economy and Development Ministry, and we are seeing a lot of activities happening in the space, and this has also motivated the private sector. For example, Zanaco has introduced an award on climate change, of which I was one of the recipients. We have also seen increased motivation in the civil society and more youth wanting to be involved and wanting to work together in the space. So I think those are scores that we can highlight in the perspective.
It's good that you've also touched on what currently is happening in terms of efforts being made by the various players, our government, and what we need to be doing at the various levels, even at community level. I think climate involves all of us. We are all affected and impacted by it, and I think we all need to play a part in ensuring that we're able to reduce the effects that we are experiencing, but also to plan for what is coming ahead.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
And you did mention about the SDGs. I know we do have these goals. And I think for sustainable development, we do have these 3 pillars where we say there has to be a balance between how we're developing as a country economically, socially, but also not leaving out the environment.
Absolutely.
So in terms of how you've been seeing how this plays out, do you think that the balance is there? Are we really ensuring that we are able to develop in all these pillars without leaving anything behind?
I have a different interpretation of that perspective. So one of the challenges that we find in the space of promoting climate change awareness and the balance between economy, environment, and social aspect of our lives is people always look at it as interdependent aspect of our lives, but it's actually one and the same thing.
You cannot do one minus the other.
Absolutely. If you want to talk about economic
it's like a code of 3 pillars,
You can't talk about economic development without talking about environment. If the environment doesn't have the capacity to support your economic development agenda, you can't succeed. Yes, our social aspect also comes into play because it's an equation that works hand in hand. So we cannot simply say environment here and then economy there. So they go hand in hand.
They all need to go together.
If you want to really develop, for example, our country economically, we have to include the environment. We have to include the social aspect, so the people themselves. So it should always balance. Just to answer the question directly, it must always balance because we can't survive by just focusing on one. So here we have heard, for example, a lot of promise of jobs to the youth that has come from the new government, and we are committed to doing that, which is, of course, a good thing to hear. But to actualize that, what is it that they have from the environment perspective to support job creation? If you are saying our youth should be involved in agriculture, which land are they going to use? Is it arable? okay, how has that land been affected by the change in the climate? We know that drought has affected us so much. I think in 2015 we saw what happened. A lot of people lost jobs in the mines because we couldn't generate enough electricity from our hydro system to support production. People lost jobs, and also people lost out in terms of crops because the drought killed the crops, and people had reduced yields, and that led to hunger, and we registered a lot of areas where people had a crisis and they had to be helped by the government. So all this is connected, which is why when we are discussing environmental issues, we should be looked at as people from Planet X. We're actually very much concerned about the sustainability of our economic development and social development. So we want a better future for us all. And this is why I like the youth agenda, because we are the ones, when you say 50 years from now, we're talking about ourselves. So if we make the wrong decisions today,
you'll be the ones to be affected.
Absolutely, more than anything else. And even those that are in their old age range, they'll be very old probably by that time. And then they can only complain about the decisions that are going to be made or the policy that will be at play at that time, when they cannot do anything at that time, which will be too late to regret. Which is why we need to really be, able to balance our conversation. The intergenerational conversation should take place, but most importantly, the economic, social, and environmental conversation should be balanced in all aspects. Produce enough for the people. That's what we call intergenerational equity, but not injure the resources, so at least we can have enough for the next generation. So yes, develop, but also protect and restore the environment.
So you speak very well, and I think what you're talking about is the ideal situation. That is what we want to see.
Yes.
But probably the question is, are we really there? Are we at the point where we feel we are attaching much importance to each of these three pillars of sustainable development? Are we doing that? Because when it comes to environmental conservation issues, environmental protection, I think many times we see that even in terms of budgetary allocation, probably from our national budget, we don't see a lot of funds being allocated to those kinds of programs. So are we really attaching that equal importance to all of these pillars? What are some of the challenges that you see probably in terms of us ensuring environmental conservation or environmental protection?
Absolutely, yeah. You're very right when you put it that way, because almost all of us, we are always concerned about what is the kwacha-dollar rate. We want to measure economics, and that is the basis upon which we can define whether we're doing well or not. No one talks about the injury we are causing on the environment itself. That's a reality which is also being reflected by the amount being allocated to environmental protection. And that should change. And it must change as soon as possible if we are really committed to ensuring that we change the narratives collectively. That should change, but that's not right. We have heard a number of debates that have occurred in the past. This is one of the examples. I'm glad it's in the courts, but we also know that it's a conversation based between economics. We choose between economics, environmental, and social. People want jobs, I guess, or so. But what we need to know is, on this planet, on this earth, we're not the only, inhabitants. Yes. We also
coexist.
We coexist with other animals. We coexist with other animals, but most importantly, we compete for the same resources. Okay, so if the lake in my village dries up, it's not only us to be affected, what about the animals?
Exactly.
And if the animals don't have water to drink, what will happen to me? It will still come back to me at the end of the day.
Yes.
It means that there will be a crisis. Already we know that the number of wildlife is reducing. Not only because of climate change, but also because of human activity and the ignorance that we portray altogether, thinking that it is only our interest that should be saved. But we should also save the interest of everything else, because in the ecosystem, we should all coexist for us to be able to survive at the end of the day. You love T-bone?
I do.
But if there's no water to produce cattle, and if there's no arable land to have, enough grass for the cattle to feed and everything else, there's a problem there, and that will bring us the crisis.
So there is a connection with everything. We are interconnected.
Yeah, we are actually a part of the ecosystem.
Wow. Well, before we come to the close, probably I think I'll take you back to the topic that we had commemorating Earth Day today. So maybe before we end the interview, I would like you to just maybe give us your final thoughts on what today means and what people should look out for, what they need to be doing. And just use this platform now to just create awareness about the important significance of this day.
Absolutely.
Earth Day.
Earth Day is very important, and very important not only for us, but also for everyone else in the ecosystem, including the animals, including the trees themselves. We need to breathe clean air. Trees produce clean air for us to breathe. They restore our soils, and they help us improve our agriculture. At the end of the day, we need, the rains to come so that they can water our crops, and we'll be producing our food. We need land to be fertile, and continue use of chemicals destroy the land, and we need to find ways of reversing that by introducing regenerative agriculture methods and many other agroecological solutions that we have out there. Those are some of the things that we need to think about.
Yeah.
So this Earth Day reminds us to begin to invest in the earth, not only today, but even for the next part of our lives as this current generation. It should be a part of us. It's as simple as just waking up in the morning and choose to use a bus and not a private car if you can.
Yes.
As simple as reducing the amount of water you use to brush your teeth or to bath. It's as simple as that. Because we are conserving resources, which means the pressure of the resources will reduce. We are simply reducing the carbon footprints. It's as simple as planting a tree on each and every day of your birthday. As you celebrate your birthday, don't just buy a cake. Also plant a tree.
Yes,
What I always do also in my personal life is every time I'm invited to speak at an event, I always demand that they plant 10 trees for me. It's as simple as that, and they do plant about 10 trees. And when you plant a tree, you are creating life for the next generation, including yours. And it's as simple as waking up in the morning, go to your Facebook, say something about the environment and its importance to our lives. Remind someone to take action. It's as simple as, in your classroom if you are a student, during break, talk about it to your peers in class. And today, communication is made very easy. In WhatsApp, a message can go viral and people are reminded. So use this day to take every little action you can take, and collective will make a huge impact to really remind ourselves that the earth is as important as we need to breathe.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Muyunda. This really has been very, very insightful. Thank you so much for coming and for sharing your insights, your expertise, your experiences. I think I have personally gained from this interview, and I hope the listeners have also gotten one or two things of what they need to do, especially for this day, but not only for this day, but
Absolutely.
for all the days coming on, so that together we can all change the world and have a better world for all of us. So Thank you so much once again, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Thank you.